Good afternoon, Alan Vandenberg here. Another episode of EQ for You, episode number 40. It's crazy, it's episode number 40. Today's episode is Attitude of Gratitude, or Grateful versus Complaintful. Should be really fun. We're operating off of the idea that 75% of a person or team success is not their IQ. If you have not done so and you're looking for a holiday gift item, there's my book, EQ, Kill the Radio Star. How Emotional Intelligence Can Crush or Crash Your Organization. So be sure and pick up a copy of that, use it as a gift. Inside this book, there are 6 EQ tools that you can use along with the whole scenario and the idea of EQ, Kill the Radio Star. So we talk about rock bands and stuff like that. It's really fun. Be sure and subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you're looking for a keynote speaker, I've done a couple of keynote events over the last month or so. Would love to have, love to bring emotional intelligence to your organization. It's a lot of fun. So today we're going to move to the segment of EQ IQ Music Row, where we discuss artists that are in my record, my CD, my audio file, or my tape collection. I actually found some tapes the other day, so I still do have some. So we look at it from an EQ IQ perspective. Today I'm really excited because I want to introduce you, if you have not heard of, one of my favorite artists of all time. His name is Mylon LeFevre. Mylon grew up singing in a Southern gospel family band called the LeFevres. His family, his mother and dad, have some history with Nashville and the Grand Ole Opry. And at age 17, he performed a song that he wrote called Without Him at a gospel convention in Memphis, Tennessee. Little did he know that Elvis was in the building behind a two-way glass. And after the concert, Colonel Parker, who was Elvis's manager, went up to him and asked him to see if Elvis could record that song. And interestingly enough, Elvis, he really liked Mylon, so he said, which was very unusual at the time, hey, we want you to keep the copyrights to the song. And because he did that, because Elvis did that, it changed Mylon's life forever and basically set him up financially forever. The song that Elvis wrote was recorded on over 126 albums, and he was an early pioneer in recording in the recording world in what many believe to be the first Jesus music in the early 70s. He called his band Mylon LeFevre and Holy Smoke, and through the 70s he recorded and performed with rock legends such as George Harrison, Eric Clapton, Billy Joel, Elton John, and The Who. He recorded what I think is one of the best albums ever made, and it's this one right here. It is called On the Road to Freedom. I love this album. It's one of my favorites, with Alvin Lee of 10 Years After. So this is one of my favorite albums of all time. It's incredible. I just love it. It's really good. So I'll be putting some links to that and some other Mylon songs on the links. And so I've actually met Mylon LeFevre several times, and I actually asked Mylon about this record, On the Road to Freedom. And interestingly enough, he said, I don't remember making that album. As a matter of fact, about 3 weeks after we completed making the album, he almost died of an overdose. And so by the end of the 1970s, Mylon's life was in an absolute wreck with drugs and all of that. And he became a Christian in 1980 and spent the next 10 years relentlessly touring and putting out an album almost every year. It was crazy. They would do 11 months of touring, take a month off to record an album and go back on the road. He did that for about 10 years. He won a Grammy for an album called Crack the Sky with Mylon LeFevre and the band Broken Heart in the 80s. And due to a heart attack in 1990, they broke up the band and he stopped touring. He's actually a preacher in Texas now. Mylon is in the Gospel Music Hall of Fame, and he's one of my favorite artists. Again, I've got like 3 or 4 links to some of my favorite old and newer Mylon LeFevre songs. So check that out. He's one of my favorite artists of all time. He works with a ton of people throughout his career. He's one of my favorite artists. So he gets a 5 on IQ. He gets a 5 on EQ. I'm going to send a link on one of his songs, one of my favorite songs from the 70s. It's a song called Gospel Ship, For My Growing, and then there's a We Believe song too as well. So check him out. And so that's our EQ IQ Music Row for today. Today's episode, EQ for You, is Grateful versus Complaintful. Grateful versus Complaintful. Complaintful is not a real word, obviously, but I think you kind of know what I mean. It's a mindset, never having enough, always wanting more, seeing what you don't have as opposed to what you do have. Grateful is also a mindset. It's about choice, being thankful versus being complaintful. Having a thankful mindset is not an IQ skill. It's an attitude, it's an EQ skill. When I present keynote speeches all over the world, I make a point to briefly talk about negative and ungrateful people. And negative people are always negative. Like it's like it's their mission in life to be negative. They also bring drama to the workplace as well. As a matter of fact, negative and ungrateful people, we usually try to avoid. And the reason why we try to avoid them is because it can rub off on us. Yes, things are terrible. You know, this is a terrible place to work, or I don't like the way life is. I mean, it can rub off on us. So typically, we kind of try to avoid people like that. As a matter of fact, I kind of do. And so why should we be more grateful than complaintful? Well, in August 2021, in the Harvard Health Publishing article, it discusses the positive effects of being grateful in an article entitled, "Giving Thanks Can Make You Happier." Giving thanks can make you happier. The article references a study by two psychologists, Dr. Robin Edmonds of the University of California, Davis, and Dr. Michael McLeod, I think that's how you say that, of the University of Miami. In one of their studies, they asked all the participants to write a few sentences each week focusing on a particular topics. One group wrote about things that they were grateful for that occurred during the week. A second group wrote about daily irritations and things that they were displeased at. And then the third wrote about events that affected them with no emphasis on being positive or negative. So after 10 weeks, those who wrote about gratitude were, guess what? More optimistic and felt better about their lives. And surprisingly, they also exercised more and had fewer visits to the doctor than those who focused on sources of aggravation. So with this in mind, I've made a short list of areas that I am thankful for. So I'm thankful for the hundreds of people who have supported, purchased, and helped me promote my book, EQ Killed the Radio Star, over the last 2 years. Yes, there's a joke I always make, and that is, you know, my publisher said the best time to launch a book is during a pandemic. That's absolutely not true. But I am really grateful and thankful for all the people that have supported me over the last 2 years. It's been different, but it's been good. So thank you so much. I'm also thankful for coworkers that I have, especially the team of over 100 people that helped build and launch a new ERP software system in 2021 that will forever change the way Tulsa County operates. So I'm so thankful for them for doing that. I'm thankful for my health. I can ride a bike. I actually rode a skateboard over the holidays and I did not get hurt. So I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for my family and the talent and skills that my wife and my 2 daughters share with the community and around the world every day. I'm so thankful for them, a wonderful family. I'm truly thankful for the twists and turns that life has given me over the last few years. It's been sometimes not always easy, but as I look back, I've learned and grown so much. I have personally learned and grown so much in the last few years. It's been amazing. And I'm thankful for all the music that I'm able to play and listen to. You know, I love older music. I was talking about Mylon LeFevre in the 70s, and some people are probably watching this going, the 70s, but I love a lot of the new artists that are out over the last 10 years or so. There's just been some great music that's being made. Bruno Mars, Chris Stapleton, oh my goodness, his voice is amazing. His songwriting ability is amazing. Taylor Swift, now I threw Taylor Swift in for my kids, my 2 daughters for sure. Kane Brown, Dua Lipa, I know she's new in the last couple of years. I just love the dance stuff that she's doing. So I'm so thankful that I just have this. I wrote something here recently and I said, look, a hashtag best life ever, and I really do believe that that I'm having the best life ever. I'm so thankful for all the people that I've met along this life's journey, and it is a good life. So if you want to hashtag it's a good life, there you go. So here's my challenge for you. Much like this study that was made, I would challenge you, make your list. You kind of heard my list today. Make your list of the things that you're grateful for in your life. And then the other thing I would say is find those around you and thank them. Sincerely thank them for being a part of your life and the things that they give to you in your life. So grateful versus complaintful. I would rather take grateful because complaintful, first, is not a real word, and secondly, it just sounds just irritating. So don't do that, right? So hopefully this was helpful. I'll leave you with these 3 things. Find what you do in life and do that to the best of your ability. What you were made to do in life, do that to the best of your ability. Number 2, don't let anything or anyone steal your joy and your happiness. And number 3, live life to the fullest. Hashtag live life to the fullest, I guess. Live life to the fullest because nothing is guaranteed. All right, hopefully this was helpful. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks.